There's been a build up to this moment. What do you think of it?
Well, I've said many times, having lived through that day at the Capitol, Dana, that January 6th was a tragic day. But thanks to the courage of law enforcement, the violence was quelled. We reconvened the same day and finished our work under the Constitution of the United States. But I must tell you, from very early on, I've been disappointed in the partisan nature of the Select Committee on Capitol Hill. I mean, to have a committee that was literally appointed in its entirety by the Democrat Speaker of the House really violates the history and tradition of the Congress of the United States.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here, and in news that will surprise absolutely no one, Mike Pence is a coward and still refuses to wholly condemn January 6th and still saddles up with his party even though they allowed for and created the monster that is Donald Trump.
This Select Committee from the very beginning has represented a kind of a partisan taint that I think it's one of the reasons why so few Americans are paying much attention to what will happen today or to the results or recommendations of this committee. Yeah.
Then you don't believe it should be a criminal case that should be referred to the Department of Justice. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I wrote this in my book. When it comes to the Justice Department's decision about bringing charges in the future, I would hope that they would not bring charges against the former president. I don't. Look, as I wrote in my book, I think the president's actions and words on January 6th were reckless. But I don't know that it's criminal to take bad advice from lawyers. And so I hope the Justice Department is careful.
There might be criminal referrals on that, too.
Well,
right, so we'll see on that.
Pence's first point is that the Select Committee somehow didn't have enough Republican representation, which is funny because so many of them refused to even take part in it or skirted their own testimony. And those Republicans that are a part of the committee basically were shunned out of their own party because as it stands, the GOP is an extension of the wants and whims of Donald Trump, nothing more. He sets up the committee to have the same illegitimacy to Republicans as both impeachment proceedings because they simply don't like that their candidate is the one constantly trying to break the law and subvert the will of voters. He also, of course, has to bring up his book again because nothing he does now is not a giant advertisement for his damn book. Everyone has a book about their insane journey with the Trump White House. Know why? Drama and scandals sell. And instead of sticking up for democracy or the rule of law, Mike Pence is in it for that sweet, sweet cash. Now, painting Donald Trump's actions as bad advice from lawyers is quite the stretch, but that will be the angle Fox News and the majority of the MAGA GOP now run with, because it can never be solely Trump's fault. He's always at the mercy of his handlers or his base of whoever else. And of course, it always goes back to the divisive nature of holding a former president responsible for his actions. And here's the thing, we're in a pressure cooker now in our country, politically, because of people like Donald Trump. He ushered in a new era of crazy, not one that didn't already exist, but the platform and magnitude of it went to an entirely new level. Trump himself has always been labeled, rightly so, as a divisive candidate with divisive rhetoric. There is no question on that. But Republicans like Mike Pence will look the other direction and cry foul because he thinks the Democrats are just being mean to Trump. This same guy who ordered a mob to the Capitol and wanted them to kill Mike Pence, and he's still covering for him. That's just how deep this rot goes. The bare minimum is saying that January 6th was awful, but that is not the whole story, and people like Pence and Fox News are all too happy to spare us the important details that led up to what happened that day. I hope that money from that book is as good as Pence wants it to be, and any bid he makes for president allows him to grow a spine, because right now it's looking like this is just another casualty of the GOP, selling his soul to the false idol of Donald Trump, and that's a fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.